Sure. All right. So for everyone watching at home, please just give me a quick introduction as to who you are.
Oh, hi, my name's John Braamse. I'm the Democratic candidate for the 38th state Senate seat in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Like bio or
Yeah, sure. Yeah, what makes you, yeah, just tell me about yourself.
so I was born and raised in the Upper Peninsula. I'm a fifth generation Uper. I'm was actually born in Lawrence, Michigan, but raised in Marquette, Michigan. I have relatives coming back to the area since the 1850s, actually. Joined the Army in 1987 after graduating from Marquette Senior High School in 1984. Spent 25 years on active duty in the Army and then moved back to Marquette in 2012. And I've been working at the Marquette area public schools since about 2015 in the special education department. Now I'm been married for 27 years. We have two kids who are teenagers who go to school here in Marquette Alternative High School, and I'm running as the only Democrat to for a variety of issues, uh, try and promote universal health care, investments in education, especially younger children, uh, and then also like to support infrastructure support and uh, environmental issues.
Yeah, sure. Good. So now tell me a little bit about how your background has led to you entering the race.
Well, I grew up before I joined the service. I noticed that healthcare was always a struggle for a lot of people, and that was one of the main reasons I believe that healthcare should be a right, not an just a fortunate for those who can afford it. Once I joined the service, now I'm fortunate enough myself to have healthcare for the rest of my life provided by the military. And I think that really builds a stronger society and keeps down prices for people who have to work hard for a living. Also, uh, minimum wage, I think, should be an increase to $15 an hour in order for people to earn a decent living. I think people should get a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. And infrastructure, one of the main reasons I think infrastructure is important is because without infrastructure, you can't really move goods and services safely and efficiently across locations from supplier to, from where they build it to where they need it. So those are my main reasons I'm running for state office.
Yeah, so another thing here. So, following the last general election, there was a lot of talk about democracy being at risk through voting methods or the soundness of our elections. What are your thoughts on that in the past and moving forward?
I think that the US has proven to have a reliable voting system, and I support universal access to absentee voting. I voted absentee for decades in the military, and I support the new promote the vote petition drive. I signed the petition, and if it hadn't gone to the voter and I was elected, or if I do get elected, I would support it regardless. Um, I don't think we need. If you have an ID and you show up at the polls, that's fine. But if you don't have an identification with you, I think the affidavit process works perfectly fine. It's always worked on absentee ballots, and I totally support and believe that our elections have been fair and safe. And what happened on January 6th as an attack against that was completely and totally unfortunate and illegal and was an act of terrorism that should have never happened.
Sure. So, another topic here. So, with the likelihood of abortion access being on the ballot in November, what's your stance on that proposal?
Well, I think abortion is something between a woman and her doctor. I'm a pro choice Democrat, and I think that's part of the overall health care. When I say health care for all, I think that needs to be an option that, especially in sensitive cases, that somebody is early on, or rape or incest or any other terrible thing that could happen. But ultimately, I don't think the politicians that don't aren't experts should be standing between a woman and her health care. I think so. I'm a pro-choice candidate.
If you were elected, what would you do to improve access to mental health care in the Upper Peninsula?
I like to look at and get the situation by asking the experts who work in the field to provide their input. I think, and then find out how much uh, funding or from the state of Michigan could be used, and where it could be used, possibly in the form of uh, grants or revenue sharing that would help to pay for it, to make sure that, I mean, I know some of our family members have had a deal. A lot of friends have dealt with healthcare or healthcare needs and so forth. So I think the professionals would tell us what they need, and we should provide the funding sources that take care of that problem.
Yeah, thank you. And now, next, so what would you do to improve access to care, maybe healthcare for seniors in the Upper Peninsula?
Well, fortunately, Medicare does pick up at age 65. Uh, we have to make. I would like to revert to a time, was about, I believe, 10 years ago, when all healthcare, all hospitals in the state of Michigan were nonprofit. I think part of the problem is people are putting profit ahead of people, and if healthcare was provided when needed and where needed first and foremost, without looking for a big payday on the providers. I'm talking so much the doctors, but the institutions that are taking an unfair uh, piece of the pie as far as healthcare needs, and making sure that it's accessible to everybody that needs healthcare when and where it's needed.
Yeah, thanks, John. And this is my final question. Just wondering if you have any messages right now for undecided voters.
Well, it's ultimately the voter's choice in all elections, and I'm going to be the, by default, the Democratic nominee for the 38 state Senate district. I'm not afraid to stand up for what I believe in. If we have, uh, I've been a solid Democrat and progressive uh, voter all my life. Actually, my first campaign I started when I was too young to vote, but it was 40 years ago. And if you believe that your elections are uh, fair, and they have been, and I think they've proven to be, and you believe that healthcare is a right, not a choice that only for the few, and that you support access through abortion access if needed, when needed, that I would be the candidate you should vote for. And ultimately, the people should have their choices made, and everybody should have the opportunity to vote and make their choice. So I hope those that people that want to vote for me will continue to do so. I have a website people can check out. It's my JOHNBRAAMSE, johnbrahms.com. I have plenty more information there if you want more details, and I hope you can start support me on November 8th.
All right, John. Well, that is all we've got for today. Thank you so much for taking some time to chat with me, and I hope you take care.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time.